death edict already burns for your world.
Yeah, why am I not getting charges? There we go. That's more like it. So this is without Avatar. I think he dies fast. Oh, I got that down there, so I gotta rock around, dodge these guys, and then nuke them. There you go, Bishop. Glad to help you out. Howdy, my dudes. So here is the most natural progression from the Walking Bonk 4, the Super Saiyan build that everybody loves. This here is the 1-for-1, keeping Energy Shield, and with all the great stats and the gear you had before, this is wonderful. I have not changed the weapons, the gloves, either the rings, since getting an unset ring for the dual charge tech, since they got rid of Lingering Illusion. The Ingenuity belt hasn't changed. The belt, the helmet's all the same. But you'll see that I have Astramentis now. This is not required. This was a wonderful, wonderful gift by Stardius. Holy crap. This today on stream, he decided he wasn't going to be playing the game anymore and donated this to me. And that was an incredibly, incredibly generous gift. And I'm going to be taking advantage of it. But I need to let you know that it does not... Astramentis is not required to make this build work. This felt incredibly amazing before Astramentis, but after getting Astramentis, these upgrades only amplified its effect. So when I put this together, it was about 50 div cost for all these. I needed 3 jewels. 2 were essential, 1 was like luxury, and putting all 3 of them together was about 2.5 times the effect of what Astramentis would have given me for a fifth the cost. There were about 50 div, and Astramentis are about 250 divine. And the thing is, with Astramentis, it multiplied its effectiveness. And so now, you've seen the gear. It's the same as it was before. I no longer have the amulet, but now for the passive tree. We are no longer using Avatar because it is absolutely not needed whatsoever. I use Avatar against a tier 4 Zesht, and I think he just decided he didn't want to be there anymore because it was less than a second. It was less than a single second and he was gone. And so the tech here, we take out all these travel nodes, and since we moved our controlled metamorphosis, we no longer have that 40% node, so it does not matter how good your Heroic Tragedy, your Verona Jewel is. This will work if you get the cheapest, crappiest one that gives you nothing, because all we care about is circular teachings. Again, this is the most natural progression. If you were to have the full Walking Bonk setup, because a lot of people had better gear than me, this is what you would want to do next. It cost literally a fifth the cost of an Astramentis, a fifth the cost of getting a From Nothing Resonance, and what we did is we got a From Nothing Iron Reflexes. Iron Reflexes is incredible because it allows us to get Polymathy, a couple of these really wonderful all attribute nodes, and this Authority node, which is also incredible. I love this tree. I love this From Nothing. I am just adoring it. And then the other thing we absolutely need is this Megalomaniac with Jack of all Trades. Jack of all Trades is an amazing node for a stat stacker. This is just such a beautiful pairing. It adds so much to the build, so many extra points, so much saved efficiency. We're able to come down here to take these dex plus attack speeds. They're just better than travel nodes, and we just removed a bunch of travel nodes. We're still getting Falcon Technique. We even come through here and we get this 8% increased dexterity again to keep stacking. We moved our mid-large controlled metamorphosis here around Wildstorm. It specifically needs to be medium-large to work the best, but that's fine. These are a single divine, maybe 2 for a good one. I corrupted my own to give me cold res. That was a lucky corrupt because I needed the cold res. But here you get Wildstorm, which is a 15% more damage multiplier, and you feel how much more damage it is. It feels so good. It feels so unbelievably good. and then we get Exposed to the Storm, which by itself should be completely useless. Exposed to the Storm sucks because damage penetrates lightning resistance, and it only gives you the crit chance against enemies with lightning exposure. However, it gives you 30% critical hit chance against enemies with lightning exposure. So because of that, we put lightning exposure onto our Tempest Flurry, and it is a monstrous damage increase. Again, it's quality of life. With my Tempest spell, I have over 70% critical hit chance if they have lightning exposure and I drop the bell with a power charge. And because of the upgraded tech that we always have power charges while flipping through maps, and it's super easy to get full power charges before a boss fight. Your full charge staff, full power charges, everything feels amazing. You also come down here for the serrated edges for more critical hit chance, and then a bunch of reduced mana cost. It feels incredibly good. I can't believe how good this feels. I put together the evasion one, and I loved how evasive and tanky it was, but then when I put this together, it felt like I was elevating above the ground. It was so unbelievably powerful, and that was before getting the Astramentis. After the Astramentis, I don't know, is there really a way to make this feel more smooth? There might be, definitely if you got a From Nothing Resonance and got all, and Against the Darkness with Strength and Int, you could get more damage because you could get a couple more nodes. But this feels smoother. It feels nicer because you take away a lot of the little things that kind of just feel odd. You get the more crit chance, so everything is always being crit. You are getting rid of a lot of high mana costs, so when you're casting, and I brought back into it, Eye of Winter, it's not axing your mana nearly as bad. And this would feel even better with the unique mana flask, which is almost nothing now. It's like 2 divine I saw a couple days ago. I don't know if it's still that low, but it was ridiculous. I saw Mana Flask, the unique one, for 2 divine. And if that's the case, I'm definitely going to get one tonight. Even if it's less than 10, it's just a really nice purchase. A really nice purchase that is quality of life, but it doesn't need it. I don't really have mana problems because of the little ways I fixed this. And I will show this to you going forward. But first, we have kept the +2 maximum power charges because it's wonderful quality of life, and it also gives you 60% increased critical hit damage bonus if you consumed a power charge recently. That's every 4 seconds. Thanks to Charge Infusion, every 4.9 seconds, I'm consuming power charges. That's more than 80% of the time you got 60% increased critical hit damage. It's nuts. We come here, we still take the critical hit chance. You could save a point if you were willing to drop 20% critical hit chance and 36% damage increase, which is all the time if you take these 2 nodes. But for 1 point saved, I would much rather do this. I love pathing through this. These are great nodes. Absolutely great nodes. I don't know why you'd go around to not take critical hit chance. You take this crit hit chance, you get these massive energy shield nodes, plus the increased intelligence. It's all natural pathing. This feels great. You come up here, you take these attack speed nodes to take more advantage of the Against the Darkness time lost, and get some more reduced mana cost and attack speed. This all feels amazing. It's all natural pathing. I love this setup. The Against the Darkness one would be best if it was Strength and Int, but the Strength and Fire also allow for another thing. If you did not have fire damage or cold damage on a ring, and you're missing that from the build, it's a huge damage loss if you don't have that element to stick onto the bell. And you don't want a path to a node on the tree to give it to you. Instead, you could just get extra cold damage or extra fire damage on there. Since I have both, if I wanted the absolute most damage you could do, I would have got extra lightning damage with 4 strength, because with Wildstorm and everything else, and just your lightning being the highest, it scales like crazy, like absolute crazy. And there's definite improvements I could do to the build, but this just feels so good, and I love it. I really, really love it. The biggest damage node in the game right now is Careful Assassin, because 50% increased critical hit chance is just lovely. You still come up here, you got your Heroic Jewel, and then you get Circular Teachings here. Now for my Megalomaniac, I got extremely lucky. Like I said, I spent 25 Divine on this, and they have gone up in price since. Jack of all trades is the #1 most important thing you need. After that, everything else is secondary. This also came with the absolutely wonderful Vulgar Methods Anoint as well. So I get an extra 35% critical hit chance and 10 strength at the cost of 10% of my mana. It's amazing. Blinding Flash could be good if it was with the evasion-based version, because blind effect is wonderful, but not so much necessary. It's a great little defensive layer. I love the From Nothing and the Megalomaniac tech, and it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. It saves all of these points. It opens up the entire tree for you. You could change some things on here if you wanted to get more defenses like I showed earlier. You might even be able to sacrifice these 3 points for the dex if you didn't want to. If you're a little bit lower level, that's probably the last thing I'd get. Just go to this 25 dexterity. If you're level 93, you would stick right here at proficiency. If you didn't need the mana because you're not using Eye of Winter, you wouldn't need mental toughness. You can save all those points. If you didn't have Against the Darkness, you wouldn't come up here yet, and that's 5 more points saved. There's a lot of flexibility here for you to upgrade. Just the best and most natural thing you need to do to make this huge upgrade is From Nothing with Iron Reflexes and Megalomaniac. So I paid 45 Divine for these two and about 9 for this one. But for the best in slot one is a From Nothing Resonance, but it takes away the flexibility of the tree, and you need to path around here. It's a lot of attributes and damage, but that thing is also 200 Divine. This one here was 20 a week ago, or even just a few days ago. Then I started talking about it, and I think today it was at 30. This here was 2 and 3 Divine even yesterday, and it has since gone up in price since I've spoken about it, and I apologize, but please get a Jack of all trades Megalomaniac. If it keeps going up, I can't control that, but it is absolutely ridiculously wonderful. It's great tech. Please take advantage of this if you can. This is the most natural progression to the tree. It feels amazing. Now for the skills. The skills obviously meditate. I had a weapon swap where I swap out so that's how long it takes me to get from low to full. It's like a second and a half from any bit of mana to double overcapped, or any energy shield to double overcapped. It feels really nice, but there is an alternative you can do, and that is just getting an attack speed scepter, or attack speed quarterstaff here, because right now I kind of swap it out that way. But if you just had one weapon swap stuff, not weapon swap 1, weapon swap 2 skills, you could have this crazy attack damage scepter for bossing, which gives you way more damage. And with Megalomaniac, actually, let's just take it out. I'm already 8.7 attacks per second with the attack speed one, and 7.41 with the damage one, and this is definitely the best in slot. When you get something crazy for stacking your attributes, I'm at 10 attacks a second right now with the damage one, and with the attack speed one, 11.63. And this is multiplied even further with getting a frenzy charge for charge infusion. So that is why I kind of swap both. You go through maps as if you were Sonic the Hedgehog, and this, you don't even really notice bosses. The only one that gives you any bit of trouble is the damage resistance that Arbiter has at the start that makes him basically invulnerable. And even then, as long as you don't do something stupid like I did today and just basically close your eyes, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. He can still one-shot because he can one-shot anybody, but for the most part, you're going to have a 0 out of 10 difficulty in all areas of the game because it is just that strong, this combo. So now, the skills. You don't need to worry about Quarterstaff Strike. I had Behead on Tempest Flurry instead of Primal Armament because I was trying it out, but you didn't really get too many mods, and when they did come on, it was like a little bit of fire exploding around you. When you took out multiple rares, it didn't seem to stack. I don't know, it just didn't quite feel like it was it, especially since so often in your mapping it would be Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice doing the finishing blow, and in Simulacrums it's Tempest Bell and sometimes Charge Staff that was getting the finishing blow, so it just didn't really feel quite it. So for Tempest Flurry, we do have Martial Tempo, Rage, Overcharge, Primal Armament to help with the shocks and the ignites and the freezes, and Lightning Exposure. Again, Lightning Exposure would be useless if not for Exposed to the Storm, but because of Exposed to the Storm, it is wonderful. Now, Charge Staff here, we have Electrocute with Neural Overload, obviously, Persistence and Unbreakable for the wonderful, wonderful support and quality of life they give, 200% stun threshold, stacking with our rare jewels that give us maximum energy shield as additional stun threshold, feels amazing. And the final one is Culling Strike. So Primal Armament is the one that can come out for Tempest Flurry, that is fluid, and Culling Strike is the one that's fluid for Charge Staff. Primal Armament would actually be a little bit stronger in Tempest Bell if you took off Immolate, but I like having all of these in there. And if you had Immolate on Tempest Flurry, then Tempest Flurry wouldn't ignite things, and that would make it feel bad. It wouldn't ignite the bell, it wouldn't ignite the boss. I don't like that. Although Charge Staff could ignite the bell. But my point stands. Tempest Bell, for Sims, you'd have Magnified Effect, but for everything else, especially bossing, you'd have Concentrated Effect. Then you'd have Immolate, Rising Tempest, Close Combat, and Minion Pact. They all feel incredible. Minion Pact and Concentrated Effect are ridiculous 40% damage multipliers. And yes, we are taking advantage of that with having the Skeletal Clerics in. The Skeletal Clerics also help to ignite with Infernal Legion. This is nice tech if you do not have fire damage on your rings. This is a pseudo way to get ignite. Now, also, we are having Charge Infusion, which gives the incredible 12% more skill speed, and that is highly noticeable, and so is the 20% more critical hit chance while you have a power charge. Incredible. I don't think there's a better mod out there other than like the Elemental Influx or whatever it is, the one that costs 100 spirit and works about 10% of the time. And this works for everything, all the time, always. Combat Frenzy gives you frenzy charges because we do not have resonance. Profane Ritual gives you power charges because we do not have resonance. This works by casting it directly on your minions whenever you need it, as long as you have Sacrifice on. Now, Sacrifice I only put on for bossing and for Simulacrums. Everything else I would have this way. So then Sacrifice is not on. We have Herald of Thunder, we got our Elemental Invocation, and we got our charges here going nuts. Then you would also obviously have your 3 Skeletal Clerics to feel really nice. Skeletal Clerics, the Profane Ritual, for the manual cast, you have Perfusion, Unleash, so it casts multiple times, Arcane Tempo, so it casts faster, and Corpse Conservation, so you don't use all your clerics most of the time. And then Sacrifice has nothing, it's fine. Elemental Invocation, we have some pretty interesting tech for this. It uses Profane Ritual and Eye of Winter, so that it's both you're getting charges during whenever you want it, and then also you're nuking the bell against bosses even harder. I didn't have that for the longest time because I didn't need it, but then we found out how to make it feel better, and it's incredible. Plus, having it on there being the Lightning Cold Fire skill fully charges Rising Tempest for the bell, making it one of the best in slot abilities that you can get. We toss Scattershot on here. That one's fluid as well, but it is quite nice. You could also use the chain abilities. You could use whatever you wanted. I just wanted to only have Eye of Winter and Profane Ritual in there. I also added Impetus so that you get more Profane Rituals going, and Inspiration because this is the biggest mana sink in the build. And you're thinking, is Elemental Invocation? Why would it be a mana sink? We will get there. Herald of Thunder still has Ice Bite, Cold Infusion, Glaciation, Ambush, and Longshot. Best skills, Herald of Ice has Magnified Effect, Innervate, Cold Mastery, Conduction, and Support. Best skills, Conduction is fluid. It doesn't actually need to be there. It's not really needed. But what else are you going to use? And having that 20% or 100% more chance to shock basically guarantees chain shocks all the time, and it's natural to have in there. Now, like I said, I was going to tell you about Elemental Invocation. We went back to Diablo 3 days, and we found out that if you do like the number lock tech, where you press number lock to turn on, and then you hold 1 on the number pad and release number lock, now Elemental Invocation will cast itself basically as if you're holding down the number 1 button. Canceling that right now. I also found a way to use it with like the letter E, so I don't need to hold letter E, but it's basically the same as you're holding letter E without your finger actually having to be on it. It's really no different, but it feels amazing. I'm going to have a video out for that right soon, but for the most part, legitimately, if you get the number lock button press combo here where you just turn on number pad, tap it to make sure it's working, you'll know that if you press the button in the skill cast, if you had a charge, and you release number lock, it will definitely work every time. It might take just a couple of tries until you understand how the tech works, but when you get it in there, it works amazing every time. And it's been around since literally Diablo 2, Diablo 3 days. It's a thing with Windows. It just, your keyboard thinks you're still holding down the button without even really having to hold down the button. So like if you were to do that, there you go, I turned off number lock, it stopped, it's not messing with anything, and you think that Elemental Invocation is going like nuts. Now, finally, that is the skills, that is the tree, that is the weapons. Now, here is a pretty good showcase. I can't wait to show you what it does to bosses. I can't wait to show you what it does to maps. This thing does everything with almost no swap, no anything. Legitimately, simulacrums, all you need to do to swap for simulacrums is, I do this specifically so I don't need to keep taking off all of Herald of Ice, because Herald of Ice is useless in Sims, for lack of a better word. You turn off Elemental Invocation because it's not really needed there, not at all. I manual cast Profane Ritual on my skeletons for the sake of, I just need it at the start of the wave, nothing else matters. And it takes like literally 2 seconds. You turn off Herald of Ice because it's useless. You have your 3 skeletal clerics. You could get a 4th with the extra spirit if you wanted to. You have Combat Frenzy and Charge Infusion. You just go, you slap the bell down, you get Magnified Effect, and you put it on the bell. And then you also take Shock Siphon, and you would put it on Tempest Flurry. You would replace Overcharge because you do not need the damage in Simulacrums. This is the entire swap to go. Oh, sorry. There's one other thing you could do if you wanted to, and that is get Overabundance. Overabundance right here feels really good in Simulacrums and nowhere else. And in this case, you take off Rising Tempest because you took off Elemental Invocation. So here, this is the entire swap, and now Simulacrums are straight up easy mode. I've done so many of them this way. They feel as if like a tier 4 Simulacrum feels like tier 0 with the same gear. You honestly don't notice a difference. I haven't had any problems. This is wonderful. Yeah. Seriously, it's that good. It is just that good. Now, I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope I can help you make a straight up 1-for-1 best progression from the first set of this build. Like, obviously, I've had the 7 div, like 0 to hero kind of thing, just getting the gloves, and here's the most basic stuff you can get, and it's still clearing tier 4 Zesht. I showed all my build as I progressed going along the way. I showed the most watched video on my channel, obviously 50,000 views. Thank you guys so much. You're absolutely ridiculous and incredible, and I love you. And now I have showed the Energy Shield Evasion version before this, and now this one here, which is my personal favorite, the Pure Energy Shield. Godly damage, natural progression from the Super Saiyan Walking Bonk build. I love this, and I think you will too. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for coming out to check out my channel and see the streams. And also, thank you again so much again, Stardius. You are incredible. I am going to continue to improve and bring you guys wonderful content. I hope this helps you out. Have a wonderful day. Bye, dudes. Hopefully it lasts long enough. And I'm definitely not doing the whole swapping out. Actually, I could. Go like that. There you go. And now run away because he can pop you between phases, and I'm very afraid of that. He has done that to me in the past. Keep my charge going. I don't have any frenzy charges, so... There you go. Run away, because I don't want him to pop me between phases. Like full power charges. I don't even know where I got the charges from, honestly. Probably the boss. Yeah, 3 fragments there. Not bad. Not bad. I really felt like it just wasn't generating charges, but that was because I was getting confused by like all of this and everything. Oh, that gets boosted by Against the Darkness as well? Yes, it does. It 100% does. Here you go, buddy. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. The bell doesn't want to get destroyed. Come on, buddy. Oh, I was too slow. Yeah, I'm playing this terribly. As you can tell, I haven't done this boss that many times, but I am playing this terribly. Okay. We gotta do this better. I gotta pay more attention to Arbiter because he's actually a challenge. It seems he's got a lot of one-shot abilities, and you gotta be moving. You can't just brain off him. Gotcha. And you have to actually hit your bell. If you don't hit the bell, it's a problem. There we go. Pay attention, do it right, and things are easy. Don't pay attention, do it wrong, and things are hard. Just like that. That is Arbiter now, yeah. Might need to take out the Charged Staff Bludgeon. Yeah, I think 100% you're right. Charged Staff Bludgeon is not doing well here. That was level 82, but tier 3, now it's all tier 4. I think Bludgeon is the thing that's doing the wrong bit here.